Alright, boys, what you're looking at is the video footage from the Najee Seabrooks situation. If that name strikes you as familiar, it's because on March 3rd, Mr. Seabrooks was killed by the police. And since then, well, the people of Patterson have had their panties up in a bunch, saying how, oh, this was mental health and all the other fun things. And they have Black Lives Matter Patterson involved with it, and well, that just sends my spidey senses a tingling. So today, the video footage was released, and what we're watching right now is the very beginning of a hours long ordeal. But I'm not going to make you guys sit through all of this. We got time constraints over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to read directly from the Attorney General's report on the matter. All right? The Attorney General's office today released audio recordings of 7 911 calls and video footage from body-worn cameras related to a fatal police-involved shooting on March 3rd, 2023, in Paterson, New Jersey. The deceased has been identified as Najee Seabrooks, 31, of Paterson. The fatal shooting remains under investigation by the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability. The recordings are being released pursuant to policies established by the Attorney General's Office in 2019 to promote the fair, impartial, and transparent investigation of fatal police encounters. Investigators met today with representatives of Mr. Seabrook's family to review the recordings. According to the preliminary investigation, on Friday, March 3rd, 2023, at approximately 7:43 a.m., the Patterson Police Department responded to Mill Street in Paterson in response to a 911 call from an individual in distress. The individual was later identified as Mr. Seabrooks, who subsequently made additional 911 calls. When officers arrived, they encountered family members of Mr. Seabrooks. They informed the officers that Mr. Seabrooks was hallucinating and behaving erratically. At the family's request, the officers called an ambulance. The family escorted officers to an apartment where they spoke to Mr. Seabrooks, who had locked himself inside a bathroom in an apartment. In the apartment. Come on, guys, who do you got writing for you? Mr. Seabrooks told the officers, "People are trying to kill me. I need an escort." With the assistance of information provided by family members, officers concluded there were no threats to Mr. Seabrooks. The family said he may have been experiencing a bad reaction to something he had smoked and that his actions were completely out of character. The family members told the police that they believed he had arrived at the apartment around 2 o'clock in the morning, and the morning. Okay, so it says 2 a.m. and then it says and in the morning, but 2 a.m. is the morning. Either ways, grabbed some knives and locked himself inside the bathroom. Throughout the morning, additional resources from the Paterson Police Department responded to the scene, including crisis negotiators and the Emergency Response Team (ERT), along with the Paterson Fire Department Emergency Medical Services (EMS). Mr. Seabrooks told the police that he had 2 knives and a gun he referred to as a pocket rocket. The police and family members pleaded with Mr. Seabrooks to unlock the door and come out of the bathroom so they would get him help. Officer, so they could get him help. So, as you're hearing, there were tons of counselors. They took a lot of time. They dealt with this man with kid gloves. Mr. Seabrooks requested that a police sergeant be called to the scene. A sergeant was brought on the scene and also attempted to get Mr. Seabrooks to come out of the bathroom, explaining that he was not in any trouble and would be taken to the hospital to be evaluated. During this time period, Mr. Seabrooks repeated that he had a gun. At approximately 9:40 a.m., so this is 2 hours later, a trained negotiator from the Paterson Police Department arrived on scene. For approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes, 2 police sergeants, EMS workers, family members, and trained negotiators spoke to Mr. Seabrooks in an attempt to get him to come out from inside the bathroom to get help. A family member was brought to the apartment to speak to Mr. Seabrooks in an attempt to persuade Mr. Seabrooks to, come on, seriously, redundant much, to come out of the bathroom and get help. At points, Mr. Seabrooks would briefly open the door. Wow, who's writing this stuff up for the Attorney General first and foremost? But either ways, as you're seeing right here, the officers are taking a heck of a lot of time, going in and being very gentle and responsive and as empathetic as humanly possible. Once again, we're 2 hours deep into this at this point. Officers explained to Mr. Seabrooks that his work mentor could not come to the apartment due to safety concerns, in light of the fact that Mr. Seabrooks had knives and claimed to have a gun. However, officers told Mr. Seabrooks he could speak with the mentor on the phone, which he apparently was, and he could be taken to that coworker and his family members as soon as he put the knives down and came out. They are pleading with this man. They are doing everything humanly possible to reach out to this man. At approximately 10:15 a.m., a loud crash was heard from inside the bathroom, and water began flooding the apartment. Mr. Seabrooks was cutting himself with the knives and was bleeding. At 10:26 a.m., 11 minutes later, when officers had not let me make sure. I got that right. When officers had not heard from Mr. Seabrooks for a period of time, 11 minutes clearly, the officers attempted to break into the bathroom, but were unable to do so as the door appeared to be barricaded. While they were speaking with Mr. Seabrooks, officers observed knives in his hand, and Mr. Seabrooks told the officers he had a fully loaded gun and threatened to shoot people. Mr. Seabrooks threw various items at the police and started a fire in the bathroom. Mr. Seabrooks threw an unknown liquid on the face of one of the officers, who was taken to the hospital, treated, and later released. Thank God it wasn't acid. During this time, Mr. Seabrooks vacillated from expressing a willingness to cooperate with the police and accept the help being offered to saying that he was going to die in the bathroom and take one of the officers with him. Guys, we're like almost 3 hours deep into this whole ordeal, and he's now turned into a very aggressive, very combative, and threatening. At various times during the encounter, officers deployed approximately 15 less than lethal sponge-tipped projectiles, some of which struck Mr. Seabrooks, but were not effective in subduing him. So they've even tried they tried doing it the Tinder style. Tenderize the meat a little bit, knock him out, and hopefully we can get in there and take care of him. But no, he was gone. At approximately 12:35 p.m., Mr. Seabrooks came out of the bathroom and lunged towards the officers with a knife in his hands. Scribble it down. That's all she wrote. Two members of the ERT, Officer Anzartse and Officer Jose Hernandez, discharged their weapons, striking Mr. Seabrooks. When Mr. Seabrooks fell to the ground, officers removed the knife from his hands. Emergency medical personnel rendered first aid at the scene. Mr. Seabrooks was transported to St. Joseph's Medical Care, where he was pronounced deceased at 12:51. Guys, what more could they have done? Particularly once he left, when he gets out of the bathroom and he lunges at the cops. What more could they have done? Supposed to are they supposed to wait until the knife is neck deep on them before they handle this situation? No, they gotta go home that night. Those officers have every right to go home that night. The same as Mr. Najee was given every freaking chance to walk away from this encounter unscathed. And yet, we have these people out here screaming how they want the federal government to come and take over the Patterson Police Department. Yeah, how'd that work out during the 80s when we demanded, when these communities, I don't want to say we, because I was a baby, but either ways, when these communities demanded help from the federal government, we ended up with a drug war that rages to this very fucking moment. And yet here you are, continuing to beg for daddy government to come and fucking save you. As if the real problem isn't the welfare state and the shitty culture. Let me reverse that. The shitty culture and the welfare state that fucking funds it. That's the fucking problem. This is a cultural issue. Without a doubt. And the welfare state, thank you daddy government, is one that really pipes money in there. And that's because it's all profitable. Everybody making bread off of this shit. Off of these communities. And what do we end up with here? Another dead black man. With a whole bunch of people sitting there licking their chops, ready to profit. These people are fucking disgusting. They really are. And like I always tell you boys, be patient, wait it on out, because the truth gonna have its day. It do. It always do. It depends on how patient you can really be. But like I said in the post, I smelled the bullshit on this. I smelled the bullshit on this from jump. And you got all these people. Once again, it's nothing but emotions. It's nothing but emotions. Hey, Black Lives Matter. Hey, Mr. Najee's family. My sorrow for your loss, but he did this to himself. He did this to himself. And to sit here and pretend as if the same police department that you're not on screen sitting there chopping it up with weren't there trying to be helpful, weren't there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't something that they wanted to do. And yet, oh my goodness, yes, somebody needs to be held accountable. Yeah, how about holding yourselves accountable for staying within these communities? Because these communities is nothing but poison, particularly to straight black men. Brothers, run. Get to the Philippines. Get to the Philippines ASAP. ASAP. But other ways, rest in peace, Brother Seabrooks. Yeah, I take no pleasure in you being gone. But I'm also not going to sit here and be an emotional wreck and scream for something, anything, random thing to be done. When in reality, this is something that you did to yourself, and the community and the police department that surrounded you were actually nothing but helpful. This is like, these motherfuckers are playing a dirty game. And a lot of it, and the cost in a lot of ways ends up being things such as our rights and the like. Jesus Christ. Guys, called it. I called this one in the fucking air. It's not Mr. Seabrooks. It ain't really Mr. Seabrooks peoples or anything else like that. It's just this entire, we victims, the police department ain't just out here hunting black men and murdering black men. The narrative is bullshit. And once again, it unraveled with a sheer yank of a thread. All the internet stuff. If you like it, toss a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub me. I'm fantastic. Releasing and get videos like this every single day. Share because sharing is caring. And YouTube and bitching like one of the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Ring the bell for notifications. Get something from Teespring. Check me out on Odyssey as well. Links in the description. Let's go in the description box and do damage and speak. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Yeah, I can't show the lunge. I can't show, like, you know what I'm saying, like a lot of your other footage or anything else like that because it's YouTube. I want this to make it to YouTube. But at the same time, you know, it breaks my heart how, you know, it's just dancing from Darren Seals to this brother right here. How quick they are to jump on and dance on a brother's grave. It's fucking sad. But you may disagree, and that's what my comment section's for. Till the next one.